Hockeysverige.se här med Chris Johnston från Canadian Press och NHL Network. Och han ska berätta lite för oss här om vad han tror om de svenska deltagarna på NHL Awards här i Las Vegas. Vilka av dem har chansen att vinna?
NHL och Hockeyallsvenskan. Du ser allt live. På Viasat Hockey.
Chris, if we start with the Vezina Trophy, we have Henrik Lundqvist, who's up against Jonathan Quick and Pekka Rinne. How do you like Lundqvist's chances of winning the Vezina?
I think Lundqvist is probably the favorite to win this award. And one important thing to keep in mind is that it's voted on after the regular season. Because I mean, had it been after the playoffs with the performance Jonathan Quick put on, winning the Conn Smythe in addition to the Stanley Cup, that award probably would have went to Jonathan Quick. But I think with the year that Lundqvist had, I mean, he's been nominated for this award in the past a number of times, and I think really I get the sense that this is probably his year to win that one. It is voted on by the NHL general managers, unlike most of the other awards are done by the professional hockey writers like myself. So there's a bit of a wild card there, and that I'm not sure where they'd exactly lean, but my sense is that I would put my money on Lundqvist if I had to put it somewhere.
Okay, and we go to the next category. We have Gabriel Landeskog up for the Calder Trophy, and he's going up against Adam Henrique of New Jersey Devils and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins of Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, this is a real interesting race. To me, one of the closest probably that they're going to see tomorrow, because I think through the first half of the season, most people would have thought Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, with the tremendous start he had, he was a point-a-game player through about 35, 36 games, and then he got injured, a shoulder injury, and missed some time, and when he came back, didn't score at quite the same rate. And I think in the meantime, people started to appreciate maybe more what Gabriel Landeskog was able to do in Colorado. He played very big minutes there on that team. He killed penalties, kind of did everything, real role player, and put up the points as well. And I think he might have come on enough at the end to maybe beat out Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but I would suspect that'll be one of the closer votes we see, one way or the other. You'll either have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins taking that award or Gabriel Landeskog, and they'll be 1-2 and very close.
And the third category we have here is Norris Trophy, who usually goes to Nick Lidström, but this year we have another Swede, Erik Karlsson.
Swede.
Yeah.
A lot of Swedes at this award.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
It's good for hockey's fair.
Yeah, it is. Erik Karlsson, how do you like his chances against Shea Weber and let's see who else we have?
Zdeno Chara as well.
Yeah.
This is kind of a controversial one if you want to go that far, and I know it was a big topic of discussion among hockey writers is this award for all-around defensive play? I mean, because there's some concerns with Karlsson that his numbers are so staggering. I mean, for him to outscore the next best player by 20 or more points is, really quite an incredible feat. But there's questions about his defensive game a little bit. And, when you think of the traditional defensemen that win this award, I mean, Nicholas Lidström's obviously owned it for a decade, but it's been also big sort of, bruising guys. Chara's won it in the past. And I'm curious to see what happens. Personally, I voted for Karlsson first. I put him first on my ballot because I just think it was such a dominant year. Sometimes maybe you get distracted by the debate and maybe you think too much almost. And I think he was the best defenseman this year in the NHL. But I know among a lot of colleagues, just over beers and they're not comfortable giving him that award. So I would probably say Chara's the favorite here, but I'd personally like to see Karlsson win it because I thought he was the best defenseman in the NHL this season.
And then we have Masterton Trophy, and it's Daniel Alfredsson who's up against Max Pacioretty of the Montreal Canadiens, and also, who else was it?
Joffrey Lupul
of the Toronto Maple Leafs, exactly. And how do you like Alfie's chances?
Well, this is a trophy no one wants to be nominated for, because it usually means something went bad and then, it had to go well afterwards. And obviously in Daniel Alfredsson's case, that's a serious back injury he had 2 seasons ago and came back and really had an excellent season, during the year when he turned 39 years old. At a stage in his career, I think, where maybe some people might have thought that hockey was behind him, and I think Max Pacioretty's probably the favorite for this. I mean, Montreal gets a disproportionate amount of media coverage in the NHL, just like Toronto, the city where I live. And that incident with Zdeno Chara where he had his head smashed into the stanchion was just so. It was such a big moment in hockey, and for him to have a great year this year, his best at his young NHL career, I see him probably as the favorite for that award. But I mean, really, Daniel Alfredsson deserves any credit I think he can get at this stage of his career. And it's nice that he's come here to come to the awards, because sometimes the Masterton nominees don't always come down for this. And I don't have a sense necessarily one way that'll go, but I would expect Pacioretty to win that one.
And lastly, I think maybe the perhaps biggest trophy of them all, the Hart Trophy, and everyone seems to think that Evgeny Malkin is the big favorite, considering the season you have.
Yeah.
How do you like Henrik Lundqvist and Steven Stamkos? Do they stand a chance against?
I don't think they do. I think his year was just that dominant. I mean, There's a case for Stamkos too, with a 60-goal season. You know, a lot more goals than anyone else in the NHL this year. But you know, and Lundqvist, of course, carried the Rangers, as we saw, into the playoffs this year. But I think that will be Malkin's award. And if you're in Henrik Lundqvist's shoes, I mean, you're going to probably win the Vezina. And I think being nominated for the Hart is quite an achievement, because goaltenders face, you know, sort of similar thing. It becomes a bit of a debate whether, since the goalies have their own award, should they be nominated for this award and such a thing. And obviously Dominik Hasek, you know, 15 years ago was winning this, but Jose Theodore snuck one in about 10 years ago, and other than that, there hasn't been a goalie up for it. So I think the victory for Henrik Lundqvist is being one of the top three. He was also the top three in the Ted Lindsay Award, which is voted on by the players, which might be the biggest compliment of them all. But I think Malkin will be the one carrying the big hardware at the award show.